People, here we go. Sophomore album, Sophomore LP from Jesse Carden, aka Subtronics. This is a follow-up to Fractals, which came out a couple of years ago now, I think. A new 15 tracker, is it? 16 tracker. Just a couple minutes short, a minute and a half short of an hour. Quite a lot to get excited about here. The artwork is absolutely sublime. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. It is stunning. Doing this transmission live from my temporary new home in Edinburgh before I make the move eventually to Manchester. I've got new glasses. Beyond that, just looking to get back into this a lot more, doing a lot more streaming and just uploading and all that good stuff. But here we go. We are here now, and we have the album Tesseract by Subtronics, kicking off with the opener, which is called Cottage Gore. Okay, here we go.
My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted.
Very Subtronics feel to it right from the off here.
Heed my words.
That kind of sound, that electrifying, colourful kind of sound is as Subtronics as it gets, really. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's got a very Subtronics feel to it so far. All involved, all sections involved. Oi, it's a wee bit wobbly. Oi. That's a very, very Subtronics kind of tune, isn't it? Just everything about it, really. Every single thing about it screamed Subtronics, from the vocal samples to the drops, which have got that classic stodgy Subtronics kind of feel about them, with bits of colour, electrifying, scintillating colour just laced within and massaged into the heaviness we got. There's not too much to say about it beyond that. The drops are pretty straightforward. Not his most memorable, but there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that's the kind of drops that you would have, in an introductory tune, where you just kind of want to have it just be a little bit of a thing of, oh look, this is Subtronics, we're back again for another album, just an introductory tune, just to reintroduce you to what my sound is and what my aesthetic sounds like for the most part, and that is what we get there. The following track, number 2, is called Only Star UC, featuring Caitlin Scarlett. It does have a bit of a D&B kind of pace to it already, doesn't it? You can feel that establishing. Oi. A little bit empty feeling. I feel like there could be a lot more layering going on here, but the vibe of it is good, the vibe of it is there, and the energy is pretty on point. It's got a nice upbeat feel and flavour to it, but there are definitely gaps here where you like just need a bit more kind of meat on the bone. Vocal from Caitlin Scarlett was okay, it was alright, a couple of memorable little touches here and there. I think it's a kind of one that might grow on me a bit over time. Not a lot, you know, Subtronics has had some fantastic vocals over the past years on his tunes that are really, really sticky, really infectious, really catchy. I don't think that one will quite get to that point, but it'll definitely rub off on me a little bit more over time. And then the instrumental, yeah, I do feel like it could have had a little bit more about it conceptually. I think layering wise, sonically, just could have had a bit more going on, a bit more texture, a bit more included and kind of put into the mix, if you will. But the liveliness, the staple liveliness and just bubbliness on its feetness of Subtronics was there. Track number 3 is Amnesia. I wonder if we're going to get like a funked level kind of track. That was my absolute pick from Fractals. Unbelievable tune. We smoking symbiote.
smoking that Whoopi Goldberg Bubba Kush.
The guy goes in with the vocal samples, he really does.
They must have amnesia.
They're about their amnesia. You heard they said about him, they ain't even about their amnesia. That sound is so Subtronics, like rum.
I'm moving like Oppenheimer.
Where's he getting these vocal samples from, bro? I don't think 3 tracks in, there isn't one so far, I'm like, yes, that is like, you know, proper adventurous, doing something different for him. I think they've all, to a certain degree, just sounded, I mean, it is D&B, that isn't something he usually does for the second tune, but it still did just have a very, very Subtronics-y feel to it. And you might be just sat there thinking, well, yeah, obviously, Connor, duh, like, it's his style. But I think for an album, you're maybe looking for a little bit more kind of branching out and just furthering of a style and just doing weird and kooky and out there things, outlandish things, especially in the first few when you're looking to kind of make a statement and, you know, say what the album is about in a way. One that I feel like I've heard a few times in terms of the drop structure, the individuality in the character comes with the vocal samples, but in terms of the heaviness, which is the focal points, lest we forget, I feel like those kind of energetic, metallic industrial flavour about it, whilst having that on its feet lively Subtronics feel, which I've mentioned already. So yeah, says a lot for how much of that kind of thing we've heard so far, 3 tracks in. But track number 4, we've got Afternoon Coffee.
If I done it, I ain't think twice. Just cause we fought one time, don't think that your mind, get out of your mind. Stack your money up, get on a grind.
Oh, it is a little bit of a wavy wibbly wobbler. A little bit of a Dirt Monkey flavour as well, actually. Maybe not quite as colourful as Dirt Monkey, but definitely got that hop and a skip about it. Definitely my favourite so far. Just got a bit more of something about it. Just had that little bit more individuality, I think, with the vocal, the original feature from Ronzo, and I did enjoy the Ganja White Knight and Zed's Dead, OG Zed's Dead calls in the chat. It did feel like a bit of a mix of those things. But yeah, the flows here, they are good. Liking the interplay between all the wubs, you know, little bits of Dirt Monkey-esque flavour in there as well. So Subtronics doing a good one there with a bit of an understated tune, nowhere near as colourful and off the wall as he can be, but I'm appreciating that at this point in the LP, quite early doors. Track number 5 is Parabola Paradox, Slap It.
Done a shoot in a panic and bait, I left my clothes in the laundry. Done a stab and I gave my shorty, my clothes was burnt by the morning. Just know what slap it, man hop out the ride, slap it. Spent most of my life on a hamster wheel, so broke that Quen couldn't manage. I'm about to take over the planet.
Oi, that's literally slapping you around the face. Like, slap it. That's there. Just doink. Slap it. Slap my face. Go on then. I mean, yeah, the idea is fine. The idea is nothing special. It's just pretty straightforward. But it's the weight of it. The production's there. It's very thick sounding. There's little quick bits in the background. I enjoyed that one. I thought the vocal had a good amount of energy to it. You know, the flow, the attitude. We've heard it before. With that kind of vocal, but I just liked it. I liked lyrically as well, had a dagger-like kind of appeal to it. It's just good, to the point, direct. I think it's my favourite overtly heavy track that we've got on the LP so far. You know, the one that came before it, Afternoon Coffee. Oh no, Yeah, was it after? Was that the wavy, wibbly, wobbly one that we just had? That was good, but in a different way, you know, a bit more understated and just a bit more focused on the flow. But this one, beefed up, heavy, slaps you in the face in owing to the title. Again, the heaviness, the drops are still quite straightforward. You're not like, okay, really branching out here, you're doing something different, pushing boundaries and whatnot. But I think for a good dose of Subtronics' style, whilst, you know, having the production on lock and just being a good reflection of the track title, really slapping you around the face, it is good for that. Track number 6 is Alien Communication. Again, bit of early Zed's Dead vibes. OG Zed's Dead vibes. Okay, this is very nice. Okay. Okay. Oh. Scared the shit out of me. I was getting really into that, like, upbeat, whatever that was. It sounded like something Fred again might do with who was it, Romy. It felt like that. It just like just out of nowhere. That did get me. That did. I'm just gonna do a little rewind on that so that I actually know what's coming now. Okay. I must say the snares are pretty good. The snares are pretty good so far on this LP. Yeah, some nice dancing about there with the sound usage. Again, it's very colourful, it's very gnarly, it's gritty and grainy, mechanical, industrial. It's another track where I'm just like, yeah, that's a Subtronics tune. It couldn't be any other. It couldn't be any other person's tune, really. I'm just like, I'm really wary of another jump scare just coming out of nowhere, so I'm kind of like, I'm stopping myself from really like getting into it because I know I'm just going to be caught unawares, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's carrying on, is it? Yeah, I mean, I can feel that the album is coming into its own a little bit now. The beginning was a little bit like, not getting too much out of that first 3 or so, but then the following 3 after that we've just had. Ideas just with that little bit more bite and adventure about them. And that one, even though, again, the drop's relatively straightforward for the most part, there's lots of good kind of coating that just to give it that bit of personality. And then all the trancey flavour. You just gotta love all that trancey flavour. It gave me strong, well, the track is called Strong by Romy and Fred's Dead. Fred's Dead. I meant Fred again, obviously. Fred again and Romy had a bit of that kind of vibe about it. Not like a wow kind of tune again, not one of those, but just good. Asteroid with Rexcision is next up. Oink zoink scoop! Reggie?
Now when men get to fighting, it happens here. And it finishes here.
Get back, motherfucker!
It's a stomper. It's a stomper. Should I have gone into hearing this collaboration expecting anything else? Probably not. Get back, motherfucker. Y'all don't know me like that. It's just so stompy. Has this idea, has this approach not been done like 10,000 times? It must have been done 10,000 times by now. I mean, it's the kind of drop that I've said it before, but I don't really see the point of it. Where's the individuality with something like that beyond the vocal sample that we got at the beginning? This melody is actually not that bad. This is quite alluring in storytelling. Oof. That's right in the ear holes, that one. Damn.
More creative.
Bit of variety, to be fair, with that second drop, and I don't actually mind it that much. You know, the development, the more lower octave, sustainy, screechy, bee in the ear kind of thing, a wasp in the ear on acid kind of effect that they had going on there. I preferred it as it was a bit lower octave. I think that's where they went with it. But the first one was like, whoo, ooh, that's quite a piercing sound in my ears, oh boy. At track number 8, we have Interface Wheel. I mean, I do like the flow. I do like the wobbliness of that. Yeah, it flows nicely. We now
have a candidate for the mind of God that Albert Einstein wrote about for the last 30 years of his life.
The flow's pretty good. I don't mind the flow. It's not like again, it's not got that X factor about it that's making you be like, oh yeah, I'm going to remember that, but the flow's good. Not the most flavoursome when it comes to the heaviness. It's not, again, just like shooting out at you as one that you're going to remember, one for the ages kind of thing, but a lot of foundational stuff is good there, and I think there's a bit of consistency. There's quite a bit of consistency here with the production being good that we haven't quite got. Even with Fractals, I think whilst conceptually I think that one so far, well, compared with this one so far, sorry, is a lot more ambitious, and the ideas are just a bit more flavoursome and out there. I think the production here is just a little bit more refined, a little bit more consistent overall so far, but yeah, only halfway through. So track number 9, we have Dreams, Plasma Reflex. Okay. I'm locked in already. Okay.
Wake up.
Oi! Oi! Ooh! Oi! Okay. This is a cheeky little McCheekster. Just landed on an alien planet kind of beat. Oi! Go on then. Mate, that beat is lovely. That beat is lovely. Mate, yes. I could kind of tell from the beginning that I was going to enjoy it when that beat was established with the kick. Interesting little string detour going on here. That is mile and away my favourite so far. You know, I was sat here thinking, are we going to get some kind of funked equivalent? Not even necessarily stylistically, but just in terms of quality. And that one is it for me. And it also is another house cut. I think he has a bit of consistency, a bit of a knack for doing good house tracks, does old Subtronics. So yeah, I think that is a bit of a winning formula for him, to be honest. I think it starts really well with the introduction. Just as soon as that beat comes in and is established, as soon as we know that, it just has a bit of a pace to it. You're like, okay, I'm getting in the mood. And then the percussion picks up a bit. It has more of a chilled, clubby moment. It has the strings near the end as well that we just heard. Just different angles through which to appreciate that housey beat, and the vocal I think complements it well also. The track is called Dreams. It does have a bit of a dreamy flavour about it, quite high reaching, and quite an ethereal vibe about that vocal too. So I think everything's just kind of working together here. All the different elements are good, and they have some good chemistry. Production for that middle drop was just so plump and full. Really got me going. Track number 10, Reality Distortion. Loves a big fake out. I just feel like I couldn't really distinguish this kind of drop from a lot of other ones that he's done. You know, little bits of flavour here and there, quite kooky, quite, jumpy, but the bulk of that drop is just another kind of stomping Subtronics kind of tune that doesn't really have that much of an idea about it. It's just da 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 da. Ooh. Does pick it up a little bit because yeah, that second drop was again just another quite simple, ordinary kind of feeling one that did pick it up a little bit with that gristle. I mean, 10 tracks in now, doing a bit of reflecting on what we've heard so far, we have heard quite a few drops like that. If we're being totally honest here, there are quite a few drops here, and not only within this LP, but within his discography overall. Like I've mentioned, like I've touched on. Just the same stomping, like one-dimensional, just kind of predictable in a way, just bwam, bam, bam, bwam, bwam, or just slight, you know, kind of variations on that. Nice little bits of flavour here and there with colourful sounds and synths and whatnot, but the bulk of this heaviness, again, just quite standard, not really something to get you up off your seat. Track number 11 is Insidious with Grab It. So I think this is the one that I have heard. Yeah, I mean, this is the best vocal so far. Get that demon out of you, boy. Mate, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Just vary it up a bit. Yes. 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 Yeah, that's some of the best heaviness on the album for me. Some of the best overt heaviness, some of the best weighty heaviness, you know. First drop even is pretty good as well. You know, nice colour, still got that touch of like straightforward about it with how it moves along, but the stuff on the top, the stuff layered over is good. Of course, the Grab It's vocal, which we've talked about already, that is good. I'm enjoying that quite a bit. It's catchy. It is the most memorable that we've had on the album so far, in my opinion, and he's just a master at crafting melodies like that, vocals like that. And then the second drop, yeah, that's just what I want to hear from Subtronics, just that same kind of style, his style, the industrial, the mechanical with the colour, but just with a bit of variety, with a bit more of a dynamic about it, not predictable, not something where I'm like, okay, yeah, I've heard that quite a few times before. This has energy about it, there's a dynamism to it, just attacking with unpredictability. That combination is sensational. Coming in at number 12, we have Quantum Queso.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me! I'm gonna kill you if you don't tell me!
See, there's a lot going on, but it still feels a little bit sapped of energy. The snare does give it that deflated feel, doesn't it? Like, it just doesn't really enliven what else we get on top. Oh. See, a bit more expansive, that. Yeah, I mean, it had a similar kind of energy as the Coffee one from earlier on in the album, Afternoon Coffee. Similar kind of energy, you know, a little bit cheeky, a little bit wobbly, but just not quite as refined overall. The vocal samples gave it a classic Subtronics flavour. I mean, he always goes for vocal samples like that, kind of cartoonish and wacky and off the wall. That was staple him. And there was nice little flittering, skittish touches synth-wise, but yeah, I mean, the idea itself, good flow, good kind of wobble to it, again as per, but didn't really go anywhere. And then the snares for the most part just gave it this just a little bit of collapsed balloon, deflated balloon kind of feel to it. So yeah, didn't do the best job of accentuating the idea itself. Mind Pluck with Hole collaboration, big name collaboration. I think I've heard this one as well, maybe. Can't be sure though. So let's check it out. I'm just gonna have a rice cake. Arr! Lost me a little bit with this second drop. I'm going twos on these rice cakes, brother. What do you call these in America? Rice crackers or something? I'm not sponsored by Callow, I promise. That one loses me a little bit more as it goes on. First drop is sick. Bwam, 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 bwam. Just the thickness of the production there is really good. I mean, yeah, it's another stomper, which we've had a lot of course, over the course of this LP so far. But you can clearly hear their styles working together, and I like that about it. You can hear the Subtronics, you can hear the The second drop just feels a bit more kind of scant, and there's this weird overlaying stuff happening. And then the third drop, by that point, it's just like, it just becomes a bit too stompy and a bit too caught up in the drudgery of the heaviness, you know. It's just like, it just feels a bit too sluggish and a bit too, like, there's no real excitement to it by that point, no overlaying thing, taking it in a different direction. It just feels a bit, you know, just heavy for the sake of it. Track number 14, I've heard this one as well, another collaboration. This time with Rez, called Black Ice. Introduction is moody and good with a nice pulse to it. Again, I like the flow of this one. Feels like there's more beefing up to do with the general sound here. I think we do get it in the second drop from what I remember, but it's just like a thinness to the production here with the amount going on. I do like this bit, to be fair. Oi, oi. This is another one of those dancing on an alien planet, alien dance kind of vibes, you know. But again, it still does have like there's something missing there, do you know what I mean? There's something empty about it. There's something empty feeling, like something really pushing and propelling it forward. Something underneath, just come on, just a little something underneath. Another pretty good second drop switch up for me, that tune. With the slowing, it's really interesting because it kind of slows down, the tempo slows down, but then it feels like it's really picking up with that second drop and the pace of it within that new BPM. First drop, again, quite wavy, quite wobbly, decent flow, but the idea is just, the idea is okay, and the production, it just feels like there's something really missing there. Like there's something that, few things that could have been added just to beef the sound up a lot more, make it a lot warmer and a lot better on the ear, because it just feels like there's something distinct missing. That does carry on into the second drop, but the good of the idea almost distracts from that. So yeah, penultimately here we have Omnidirectional, track number 15. I think it's another decent example of the stompiness just working with a bit more variety and a bit of dynamism about it. Still within the framework of, you know, straightforward and simple, but it's at least got a bit of spice about it. That is a fat kick. Got the stomps, but a bit of variety, a bit more dynamism. I think that is one of the better examples of that. Did like what was surrounding it as well, actually. I thought the introduction was pretty good. The big blasts of sound that we got. A couple of bits where you're like, that's just a little bit too overblown. I don't quite see the point, but I think the better stuff is shining through with that tune. It's still got the stompy flavour and the stompy essence to it, but just that little bit just to carry it just that little bit beyond that. Final cut is Buried Alive featuring Jem Cook. You're buried alive! You're listening to Buried Alive. Thought I'd remind you. Okay, this build is working up very nicely. Very well managed, this build. Hey! It is a bit of a drum step vibe, isn't it, actually? Yeah, with the in the background. Interesting section to end the album with. Yeah, conceptually it is different. Not necessarily with the vocal. We've had that kind of vocal on Subtronics tunes before. But yeah, just the kind of breaks feel about it, the drum step that we got, as people were saying in the chat, just here and there with the scattered percussion feel. Some of the grisly sounds that we were getting in that heaviness are really good, especially in the first half. Really weird detour that it just takes at the end there. I'm not sure quite how I feel about it yet, but it's making me want to understand it more and kind of understand it within the context and the framework of the LP in particular as well. But if we're talking about the album overall, I mean, I just want to preface this first off by saying, you know, it's been a while since I've done this, so I just want to make clear that after hearing an album like this, it's nearly an hour long, just once through, and especially in a kind of first listen reaction, you know, live stream kind of situation and environment, I'm definitely not going to think my final thoughts on this album. It's just impossible having heard it once through. But having heard it this one time for this stream, what I will say is that I feel like there's quite a bit of material that sounds a little bit too similar, not only within the LP, but compared to a lot of stuff that he's put out in the past. Within his discography, there are a couple of tunes here that really do stand out for me. Afternoon Coffee quite a bit. The Slap It tune was one of my favourites on the heavier side. Alien Communication I enjoyed quite a bit as well. Dreams is my personal pick, that housey cut. I think Subtronics proven again here that he has a knack for making a good house tune. And there are just little bits and other tunes after that that are good as well. Definitely good bits here, but I think it is just a little bit overwhelmed by the stodginess of it. There isn't too much of a story kind of tying these tunes together. If from what I can hear, it might become more apparent as I hear it more. I think for me, I just have this idea in my head when I go into an album of I quite like it to kind of tell a story and have a bit of linearity about it, and not feel more like a compilation on just a collection of tracks, if you know what I mean. But essentially that is what an album is, right? Just a collection of tunes from a particular artist or artists who are collaborating together. I think it has an album feel to an extent. It definitely has a lot of Subtronics flavour throughout the whole thing, which is good. It feels like a collection of tracks from him, and I'm looking forward to that kind of rubbing off on me more. At the moment, having heard it once, I'm just like, you know, okay, it's not a lot of it is really standing out to me and being like, yeah, I have to hear that again. A couple here and there, but I'm hoping again that it'll just rub off on me more over time, that those tracks, those standouts will become more apparent as I go back to it more. I'm sure that'll be the case. But yeah, that is going to be my thoughts after one listen. Again, don't forget, this is not my final thoughts on the LP. I'm going to go back to it many more times. But having heard it once, that is my thoughts on Tesseract by Subtronics. There we go.